Today we have 32 different songs going head to head, and by the end of it, only one will be left standing. And before we actually get started, let us know down in the comments, what do you think is the best hit song from this year? And in case you guys didn't know, we actually have our second channel, NFR Plus, that you guys could check out. We actually just dropped a bracket on one hit wonders, and we're going to be dropping every Thursday new episodes, including end of the year content. So check the link in the description to access that. And much love for rocking with us all year long, guys. But Ant, let's get into this bracket. First matchup is Meltdown by Travis Scott versus Fein by Travis Scott. There's definitely going to be a couple of Utopia songs in here, but in this matchup, what reigns supreme?
You know what's crazy, though, is that if you look at Utopia, I think 5 tracks off of that album ended up having, some of the best commercial performance out of the entire genre, which, congratulations to Travis Scott. That's a massive accomplishment, but I think I'm going to go Meltdown here. I'm not going to lie to you, but I will say this, Fein for us, it was a massive
There's
moment,
no song that had us feeling and moving the way that Fein did. Like, it literally rocked these office chairs, bro. I don't know if you remember that.
These Staples chairs were going through a rough
There was
time.
a storm in the studio, bro, when that song came on first time.
You know what? I will say this, though. I do feel like it's one of the most energetic songs of the year. I do think when it comes to like that manic energy, and even for, let's say, the festivals, it's probably one of the best on this entire list. But Meltdown's incredible. All the different types of beat switches, and even like the Star Wars shooting like midway through Travis's second verse. I really like Meltdown. I would put my vote there.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like a spiritual successor to Sicko Mode to some degree. But I think it's easily Meltdown. Travis and Drake move ahead of Travis and Cardi. But the next matchup is going to be the Hillbillies by Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem versus Sprinter by Dave and Central C. And listen, I love Kendrick and Keem as a duo. I can't wait for the possible album that comes out. But this song is a little bit goofy. I
like
gotta
it,
be honest.
I'll give you context behind this. So I actually started playing a bit of FIFA with my cousin, and honestly, every time it comes on, like while we're ripping through a career mode or something,
That's not going to convince me, though.
I understand, but it's actually, you know what? It's solid. It's supposed to be lighthearted. It's just like, it's a quick thing for the rotation, And I understand that the whole sticky interpolation is not necessarily the most original thing that you could possibly do, but it's a catchy song.
Yeah, it almost felt like a troll with the whole like Jersey Club beat and the Bon Iver sample and like the Messi Neymar back and forth. That aspect was cool.
The 150
dynamic.
grams of protein, like
two J Rocks, or I think it's 4 J Rocks in both hands. All that stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, Sprinter is miles worse than the Hillbillies.
You say Sprinters is miles worse.
Oh, yes. I really don't think it's a good song. I don't think Central C brings enough energy for how hard the beat hits.
Yeah, but that's like, I understand why you would say that. But
too many cringy lines, bro. I'll read you some. Now this gal want me in her uterus. Fuck it, I'm rich, let's do it. Or you have Dave also with the cringy bars, like, with Bay through thick and thin, she already thick. I'm halfway there.
Well, listen, I don't think I'm going to start nitpicking the bars on this one. Like the Hillbillies,
when they're that cheesy, bro.
But the Hillbillies is not necessarily like the most lyrically dense song, But I want to say this with Sprinter, it's actually grown on me. I don't feel like it's that bad of a song. I like the instrumental, has like a nice like island vibe to it. I understand why people really enjoyed it for the summer and why it made people's rotations. But ultimately, I will go with the Hillbillies.
I would go with the Hillbillies. I think there's more chemistry between Kendrick and Keem, and the pacing of the song is much better. I find Sprinter too long.
But you know what's cool about this song too is I feel like it really broke out in a North American market, bro, from the UK, and it really took the summer by storm. So
yeah,
shout out to
not
Central
for me.
C and Dave.
Not for me. But next up is going to be Fuck You Mean by Gunna versus Search and Rescue by Drake. And listen, Fuck You Mean's obviously like the biggest rap song of 2023, probably the most played by a lot of people in the hip hop community.
Has it grown on you?
Listen, bro, it's been out for like 4+ months at this point. I must have heard it 400 fucking times against my own will, just being out in public, and it has not clicked for me. I don't think it ever will. And like we've spoken about before, I just can't get behind the repetitive I can't do it.
I understand why they put it in, because that's probably what drew people to the record, right? I mean, all kinds of TikTok challenges for compilations. Yeah, it was a mastermind move. I'm just saying, for my rotation and what I enjoy and the type of music that I'm looking for, Fuck You Mean is never going to make it for me. So,
but is it better than Search and Rescue? I think it is.
Is it better than Search and Rescue?
I think it's a better song than Search and Rescue. And I feel like when it comes to Search and Rescue, Drake overstayed his welcome on the song. I think the song's like 5 minutes long, and I'm not a big fan of his singing on it either.
Okay, listen, I'll agree with you on that one. I'm not too big on the singing performance as well. I feel like the auto-tune doesn't necessarily suit him too much on the track as well. And like the whole like Dale Mommy thing, It's not necessarily for me, so I'm gonna
Shut up,
probably
Pitbull, though.
yeah, shut up, Pitbull. I'm probably gonna go with "Fuck You Mean." Though.
You were about to go the other way, though. I'm happy that I got you on the right
because
side.
I was
of
looking at
things.
it, I'm like, listen, where am I really going with this? Because I'm not a fan of either song, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, "Fuck You Mean" is gonna be advancing. Let's go into the next one. We have "Barbie World" by Ice Spice and Nicki Minaj versus "Players" by Coi Leray. You know, it's the first time I actually watched the Barbie movie the other night.
Oh, you watched it?
And I watched it with my 51-year-old father. It was actually hilarious.
Wow.
It was that was
that's
a moment.
pure male bonding experience to the
was,
max. That's for sure.
Because when like it was just like a random night. I'm like, fuck it, like let's
throw
rip
it on,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, let's just see what the hype's about, And honestly, no, I wouldn't go back to it. It's not for
No,
me.
I don't think I'm gonna check that one out, even though
Just
I do.
do it though. Why not? Just fucking
Listen,
rip it.
Greta Gerwig is a great director, so I might check it out.
There's some elements that I really do like about it, but it's not for me. It's like I'm not the target demo for that type of movie, nor is my father.
Yeah,
but anyways,
for sure. But
let's
yeah,
do this
listen, when it
matchup.
comes to Barbie World, obviously it's a remake of, unironically, one of my favorite dance songs of the 90s, which
like
is
that song?
Barbie Girl by
No
Aqua.
way.
I have so many memories
my
of like
goodness.
family parties of that bumping off. And honestly
I feel
speaking,
bad for you.
What do you mean you feel bad for me, bro?
That is one of the
What's
most
wrong with
annoying.
that?
Oh my goodness! Listen, if you enjoy it,
That's in the
I can't hold
playlist.
you.
You know my playlist of my 90s dance. That's in there, bro. That's in the playlist. It was worthy of a placement there. But to be honest with you, I feel like they just ruined a childhood gem for me when it comes to this song, and they managed to make it even dirtier than the song was.
Whenever would I have thought in 2023 would I have seen Barbie come out with like a drill beat in back of it? That's kind of weird to me. Like the fact that there's like drill drums in back of it and those 808s and that distortion. It's just, I feel like it's a bit off-putting. I understand why they did it, and it's a common technique to take old records and flip them new, and have new artists kind of tackle them. But besides that, I understand it's a commercial song. It did what it did because it's a soundtrack movie. But honestly,
and that's why it's
yeah.
a good comparison with Players by Coi Leray,
Yes.
because that's another remake. This time you're giving Coi Leray a fresh spin on The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, one of the all-time classic hip-hop songs.
and she does a good job on it too.
Bro, she actually makes it feel fresh. She turned it into like a fun anthem for like boss-ass women. I like her singing a lot on it, to be honest with you. I think it might be my favorite Coi Leray song. And yeah, all the homages that she's paying to classic hip-hop, they all pull off easily over Barbie World, right?
Yeah, and I feel like the production is a lot better done as well. I think it's just because I'm a fan of the original sample, right? And I do feel like in the context of a hip-hop song, the sample was much better suited for this record than Barbie World. So listen, I think Players by Coi Leray is going to be advancing. Let's go on to the next matchup. We have Say My Grace by Offset, featuring Travis Scott, versus Nightcrawler by Trippie Redd. And this is interesting because two collaborations on each side. One of them is with Trippie Redd and Juice WRLD, and then after that, the other one is between Offset and Travis. And if you guys actually watched one of our recent first reactions on the Patreon, you guys know that this song doesn't necessarily move me too much. I'm not the biggest fan of the song. I'm not saying it's a bad song. No one put any fucking words in my mouth. I am never saying that it's a bad song. What I am saying is that I just feel like it's a bit standard.
All I'm saying is that for the first time of you hearing that song, you had an abnormal reaction. Like this was you.
I was just
The
standard.
whole time the song was playing, the song is a fucking trap banger.
I literally, guys, I sat down in the live album reaction. I'm like, okay, like I was. What do you guys want
You know
me to
what?
do?
Listen,
Like, what do you want me to do?
I'm not going to defend it yet because this is a wipe. We don't even have to talk about Say
fine.
My Grace over Nightcrawler. But I'll defend it later in the bracket.
Nightcrawler's a nice song, though. I like
Really?
it. I like it.
Wow.
I like the song. I had to revisit it for another episode, and I actually enjoyed it.
I really, it sounds like a Verizon wireless ad. But anyways, let's move on.
What does that even mean?
Juice WRLD's lyrics? I got connections like Verizon. Like, just,
His vocals are fire on the song, though.
I don't find even the backing vocals. They're messy, bro.
I disagree with you, but okay, let's
Mixing
keep
is
going on with this.
awful.
All right, next one we have Already Rich by Yeet versus 500 Pounds by Lil Tecca, and shout out to Tecca for having another massive hit this year. A lot of people were questioning, hey, is he going to be able to come back in the new year with something new and refreshing? And 500 Pounds absolutely went off. It's a fantastic song at that as well. It's catchy. The production is really nice. But where are you going with this one? Where are you at? I know that you're not the biggest fan of Yeet's music. I know I've never heard you bump Already Rich, but I've heard you bump 500 Pounds in the studio, so...
Already Rich is like a staple for the Yeet community. I mean, this is a song that leaked a couple of years ago, and out of nowhere, he put it out on streaming platforms, and it's absolutely mid. It's absolutely mid. I mean, you're getting the typical Tonka talk by Yeet,
It's not a
and
good song.
I can't understand
It's all
more
right.
than maybe more than 5 words that he's delivering. To be honest, the beat doesn't stimulate me. His performance doesn't. I think Tekka's performance is much better. The production, that hybrid between rage and trap on 500 pounds, goes so hard. More accessible of a song as well.
I also do feel like Lil Tecca has much better melodies and a much better presence on 500 pounds. That's something that
I don't think he
enjoy.
went for melodies just to say, but yeah, I agree with you.
But I mean, he kind of does though, because that's kind of his whole thing is like his melodies and mic presence and cadence. You know, he's not a lyricist, so I mean, what do you really?
But he's
want
not
to
like he's not really like giving you like these drawn out melodies. Like it's
no,
more like
but I mean, like the flow
quick,
is melody,
quick
though.
flows.
Yeah, but it's the exact same thing.
It's
When
not.
you're
It's not.
flowing on
It's
top
not
of
the
a track-
exact same thing. But you could have.
We've had this conversation before.
We
When-
have, and I don't feel like having the argument in a bracket. But anyways, 500 pounds.
I'm gonna go with 500
Okay.
pounds.
Next matchup is going to be Doomsday by Juice WRLD and Cordae versus Oh You Went by Young Thug featuring Drake. 2 collaborations going head to head. One of them is more of like a lyrical sparring track between Juice and Cordae, and the other one is more of like this fun summer party song, I would say.
Yeah.
Hard to compare, I'll be honest with you.
It
Just
is hard to
because they are
compare.
different songs, but I have to give credit to Juice and Cordae to have the balls to take a beat like Role Model and add a modern touch over it.
Well, if you guys know me, you know that Role Model is one of my favorite ever Eminem songs. And I love everything from the production. The guitar strings are just absolutely abnormal. The content matter from Eminem is just on a completely different level when it comes to his Slim Shady alter ego. So to be able to touch this type of song, in my opinion, you really have to attack this with care, and you have to make sure that you're coming together for a lyrical onslaught. And I think that even looking at Juice WRLD and Cordae, they're 2 rappers that have cited Eminem as one of their biggest inspirations, big hip-hop heads, guys that are, let's say, students of the game and really try to implement those old techniques into their craft. And that's what I got out of this. If I'm being completely honest with you, I really do feel like on a lyrical level, just also having fun with it and being a bit more lighthearted, kind of like how Eminem would do it back then, they knocked off every single box for me. And when I first heard this collaboration, I'm like, man, I really need to see how this is going to come out, because it's kind of a scary thing. You know, you have some of your favorite artists attacking an old classic. How is it going to come out? But if
They
I'm
did
going to
it
be honest with you,
justice.
they did it justice. But now you have Oh You Went, because in my opinion too, this is, at least for my rotation, one of the best songs off of Business is Business.
It is, and I think that when it comes to Oh You Went, it's definitely the song that I've played more in comparison to Doomsday, but Doomsday is just way too damn impressive, bro. At the
It
end of
really
the day,
is.
like the back and forth dynamic between them, the wordplay that they're sparring off with. I murder tracks. This is in mumble. This is murder rap. Like, you're really getting them pushing each other to lyrical heights that you don't see too often. I would say, more from Juice's catalog, but just to say, really incredible stuff. I want to go with Doomsday.
I'm going to go with Doomsday as well. Okay,
Okay.
let's go on to the last matchup for side A. This is going to be the 8th matchup for today. This is going to be K-Pop by Travis Scott featuring Bad Bunny and The Weeknd. And then we have Bongos by Cardi B featuring Megan Thee Stallion. Listen, I don't like either of these songs. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I feel like K-Pop was an underwhelming single for Utopia. I remember when we were listening to it this year, we were having conversations like, where is he going to go with the album? And is he even going to put this on the album just for how much of an outlier it is for his catalog? But then you get Bongos, and it's like, it's this remake of WAP that just feels super forced, and they're going on the whole Bongos interpolation. And when I even get down to the features of it, I'd rather take that Bad Bunny and The Weeknd feature over that Megan Thee Stallion feature. I also do feel like the production's a lot better on K-pop, if I'm being completely honest with you. And listen, if you had to ask me if I was stuck in an elevator for fucking 12 hours and you wanted to torture me, what would I rather hear? I'll take K-pop any day.
Yeah, if they made a torture playlist for me, it would not be complete without bongos. You have the annoying vocal sample of bongos, 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 bongos. You have that, then you have the obnoxious bass
It feels like
lines.
water torture with like a little droplet of water hitting your forehead every single time.
It's one of
really,
the
it's really
biggest
there.
atrocities, musically speaking, of 2023. And honestly, like, I'm not even a fan of WAP, but at least that sounds like real music. This didn't even sound like a song in terms of just how messy the whole structure of it was. K-pop, listen, I guess maybe I'll speak a bit more down on that one when I have to, but right now, easily moves on. K-pop will
Yes,
be
sir.
advancing to round 2, but let's go on to side B.
All right, side B is
Okay,
interesting.
because side B is just as stacked as side A was, and the first matchup is gonna be "I Don't Give a Fuck" by Drake versus "Peaches and Eggplants" by Young Nudie. And listen, bro, if I was judging "I Don't Give a Fuck" just on like that first half where you're getting this jazzy instrumental with the vocal sample and the trumpets, maybe it would go all the way.
I would think
maybe
it's a
you would win the bracket.
okay, listen, played like the first 20 seconds of that song and you were to tell me that's a Drake and Yeet collab, I'd be like, no, get out of here. There's absolutely no way. But then the beat switch comes in, Yeet comes in right away, and we were saying it. Yeet had one of the strongest features on the entire album because this sounds like a Yeet staple. My only problem with the track, if you guys watched our Drake review for All the Dogs, I feel like he sounds maybe a bit uncomfortable on the song itself. I feel like it's a bit of an awkward mix to get Drake and Yeet on the same track. But then again, like, I can't take away from Yeet on this. Like, it's a solid slapper.
Bro, Yeet went in, Benny X went in. You have this electrifying beat. One of the best productions for me off of For All the Dogs.
One of the only #1 singles of the year as well.
Yeah, I mean, and actually, no, I didn't go number one. I went number two. It didn't get the number one.
It didn't get, not in the second week that it happened?
No, it went like number 3 or 4.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry
but
for the misinformation.
Anyways, but yeah, in comparison to Peaches and Eggplants, it blows it out of the water. The more that I listen to Peaches and Eggplants and pay attention to what's going on in that track, the first 40 seconds are Nudie reenacting what it would be like to smash your hoe.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the sounds, all the noises that would go on in that bedroom.
And I feel like there was probably much better songs this year from Young Nudie. Like example, of Passion Fruit for me. That's an incredible track off of Gumbo. If you guys want a little recommendation, I think it's the outro of the album if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'm going I Don't Give a Fuck.
I Don't Give a Fuck moves on. Next matchup is going to be I Know by Travis Scott versus Private Landing by Don Toliver. Two of the moodiest and catchiest rap songs of the year for a lot of people. A lot of them rely on their catchy hook, their melodies. I think that I Know is just such an addictive song when you're talking about that hook, the melodies he brings in. Private Landing, on the other hand, collaboration cut. You have Future. You have also Justin Bieber, who gives you a decent verse.
You see, that was interesting. Once Lovesick, the track list came out, you and I were interested in this song just because it was like, well, are you going to get a Maria I'm Drunk type of Justin Bieber? And I could tell you do not. And even going on to something, let's say like, and I Know, something I find really impressive about the track itself is the way that Travis Scott's vocals take up space on this song. Like, it just... everything from his vocals to like just
even
the way
production.
like just the melodies throughout it. Yes, but I do
the
feel
production, bro. You have those creepy nocturnal keys and then that thick percussion. You know what it reminds me of? 5% Tint.
Yes, okay. I will
reminds
say
me of 5% Tint.
I could kind of see it. I think it's a bit lighter than 5% Tint, just because 5% Tint was a very, very heavy song.
I'm saying production-wise.
Even on the production side of things.
Go back and listen.
I will, yeah, absolutely. I could see where you're coming from, but I do feel like I Know is a bit lighter of a production. But when you go into I Know, what's interesting is that it's not the most complex production on the album itself, but I do feel like it did it justice for what Travis Scott was trying to accomplish on this song, just because of the way that he wrote out his melodies and the way that his vocals fill up the track. I do feel like it's one of his best performances off of Utopia. You said it yourself, the first time you listened to this album, you knew that this song was going to be in your rotation, and I think it was a pleasant surprise for the entire community, and I think the entire community knows how much value this song has. It's going crazy at concerts. It's an absolute anthem, and Private Landing does not come
close.
It does not come close. So I think we're gonna go with I Know.
Absolutely, I Know moves on. My most played song, I think, when Spotify Wrapped comes out. But next up, we have the battle of the J. Cole features. First Person Shooter by Drake versus All My Life by Lil Durk. And listen, when it comes to All My Life, I get it. It's Grammy bait. You have this popular drill rapper rapping over this clean little, choir kid sample, and you have, a record about maturity, and they're touching on serious topics, and you have J. Cole spitting wisdom and game. I get why people are going crazy over it, but it is nowhere near sticking within my rotation. I think that Durk has some random cadence switches that really throw me off throughout the track.
When he tries to get too melodic and in a singing bag, I do feel like he falls short a lot of the time.
And the choir sample is really annoying. I'm sorry. Like, I think it was cute. It was a cool idea to get those kids with the choir.
That's the last thing I have a problem with on this track.
But that's really not a strong suit production-wise. And could we admit the J. Cole verse is stronger on First Person Shooter?
I don't even think that's up for debate. What I think we should just be debating is like, how far is first person shooter going to be going in this bracket?
I know.
That's the only thing I should say about that. But even on All My Life, like I just don't want to shit on the song because actually it's a decent song.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's nothing too crazy. I do feel like it's one of the most overrated songs of the entire year. But the one thing that didn't bother me, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, was the choir flip.
I don't like it.
I had no problem with it. I think it was fine. I think it was actually a cool idea. For myself, it's really that first verse from Dirk where he's trying to get more into like that singing vibe for like that small cadence switch for a couple of lines, and it just off throws his performance, in my opinion. So let's get first person shooter going, all right? That's going to be advancing to the next round. Let's go on to the next matchup. We have They Don't Love It by Jack Harlow versus Hope by NF. And I think this is actually one of the first times we speak about an NF song on the podcast.
It's the first time I think NF makes an inclusion, and I mean, deservingly so. He had one of the biggest rap songs of 2023. I guess two of the more lyrical tracks in terms of which songs became hits this year. And when it comes to Hope by NF, it's the title track of the album. It's definitely cinematic and grand in its production. I like the way the instrumental builds up. However, it's NF's performance and the subject matter and a lot of the lyrics where it's like, it sounds like you're getting motivational quotes from, you know, your mom.
Pinterest, yeah.
No, from your mom is like Facebook type of thing.
It's like that type of vibe, like the Facebook quotes. But that was always my biggest issue with NF, was never questioning, let's say, him as a rapper or his ability to spit, but it was just more of the content matter. It always came off as kind of preachy to me.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't necessarily enjoy about music, is when something's just trying to be
forcing it down your throat.
Forcing down my throat, like these ideologies, and like, it's okay, bro, I get it, you know? Like, don't worry. Like, I have my parents for a reason, you know? And just even going on to the instrumental, I think it's cool, but it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's more of like a movie score type of song, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I've seen a lot of people use it for like compilations on TikTok or even for intros on their YouTube videos, but man, They Don't Love It is one of the better songs of the year for me. As far as like replay value goes, I love the sample flip. I love the way that Jack Harlow attacks this, and even like going back to Come Home to Kids Miss You, this is the type of Jack Harlow that I wanted to see, and to be able to receive a 10-song project like Jack, man, it's 10 songs by the way, right?
Yeah,
I believe it
so.
is 10.
Yeah, it's around. It's around.
Yeah,
it doesn't, bro, you don't gotta worry. It's about 10 songs. No one's gonna hold a gun to your head for that.
So regardless, though, I do feel like it is one of the better songs on this bracket, so I want to see it.
They Don't Love It moves in to the next round for sure. Next up, we have Dogtooth by Tyler, the Creator versus Paint the Town Red by Doja Cat. And listen, man, I gotta be honest, it's not hard to catch that earworm for Paint the Town Red. You have that amazing 1960s vintage sample that she's rapping over. The finger snaps in the production are catchy.
She has a vicious and very braggadocious flow throughout it as
the
well.
hook, like, bitch, I said what I said. It's hard to get that out of your head.
Absolutely.
So it kind of hits a lot of the points you need to hit when it comes to making a hit song. And obviously, this has been a long stay in a lot of people's rotation since it came out. I mean, I'm not personally a fan of like the demonic imagery within the video and stuff like that, but that's besides it. I can't put that into my assessment of this. But on the other hand, Dogtooth by Tyler, the Creator is a standout off of the estate sale. I love hearing, Tyler over these luxurious, summery, upbeat productions, and that's what he brings you on this track.
I love his playful cadence as well. Like, he comes in and like with this quick flow that sort of takes up the track with this nice energy. And I do feel like Tyler has this sort of ability to not only use like his raspy voice on top of these beautiful lush productions, but also to make them sound fun and to be able to have these kind of like cute and really nice and catchy hooks that you want to go back to. So yeah, I would say probably Dogtooth is going to have to advance for me on this one. I'm going to be honest with you.
This is one of the tougher ones. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, Doja's really showing a lot of personality. She's coming with nice harmonies. It's kind of a complete package of what you want for a hit song. I mean, personally, I gravitate more towards Tyler's music, but I don't want to answer this biased. I don't want to bring in any biased.
I'm going to go with Dogtooth. I do prefer the song over Paint the Town Red.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to go with Dogtooth because I also love the way that Tyler had like that UGK type flow over the beat. But Nick, I want to know, if you had to break this tie, what would your answer have been?
Of course it would have been Dogtooth.
Okay, there we go. All on the same page. Next matchup, though, is going to be Red Ruby the Sleaze by Nicki versus Ski by Sexy Red.
I like the way you said that.
Ski. No, but listen, bro.
Someone's going to clip that.
For sure. I hope they do. But yeah, listen, when it comes to this matchup, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this is one of Nicki's best lyrical performances in a hot minute, bro.
You really think so?
The patois accent, her, one of those songs where like she's sunning people. That's like the classic Nicki.
Like you think it's like
dominant.
you think it's like a Chun-Li sort of Nicki?
I like it better than Chun-Li.
You like it better than Chun-Li?
I'm not huge on Chun-Li.
I'm a big fan of Chun-Li.
Yeah, Red Ruby the sleaze over Chun-Li. Like, even the production slaps.
Are you being serious right now?
Absolutely. The verse is brutal.
No, I'm saying
Nicki is brutal on this song.
Hey, no screaming. I was just saying, you prefer over Chun-Li? No, I know, but I have
You
to
have
ask you.
short-term memory loss? I just told you I did.
I know. I want to make sure because I'm like, well, fuck. That means a lot to me. I'm a big fan of Chun-Li.
I didn't know that.
I really do enjoy the song.
Okay.
I like the instrumental. I like her dominance on it as well. Her cadence is fucking crazy. But yeah, I don't even think this is a competition in my opinion. But you know what? Shout out to Sexy Red for having a massive song this year. Like
Massive year in general for her. She really took off.
Crazy year for Sexy Red. So shout out to her, but let's continue going on with this, all right? Next matchup is going to be Telekinesis by Travis Scott featuring SZA and Future versus Slime You Out by Drake featuring SZA. So, two SZA features. Where are you going with this one?
This is easily going to be Telekinesis. I just love the futuristic, peaceful production. I think you're getting the better SZA performance without a doubt in terms of all the notes that she's hitting, in terms of how powerful her vocals come off. Even the Marvin's Room interpolation was on point. Future gives you a good verse. I feel like I'm ascending, bro. I feel like I'm ascending to the skies when I
feel like the production does a lot more for me on Telekinesis. You have like this psychedelic-esque production that rings through, and I do like to see the chemistry between Future, Travis, and SZA. That was something that I didn't necessarily know if it was going to work or not on the track, and I don't know why I questioned it because it's one of the stronger cuts off of Utopia.
Do you believe that? Because I know that you're not like huge on the song.
I'm not
it's
huge on it,
but
but like just unbiased, like just kind of looking at the song for what it is. Like I never really revisited for it that much because I do feel like it's maybe a bit too slow for me and maybe my day-to-day, but for the most part, I can't really nitpick anything with this song.
Yeah,
you know?
and I feel like Slime You Out maybe like won't be as remembered 5 years from now the way that a Telekinesis would. To be honest with you,
think so?
I think Telekinesis has more of that timeless feel to it. But last matchup for round one, we have Watch This, the Plug and B remix by Lil Uzi Vert versus Favorite Song by 2C. One of the more random matchups on this bracket, that's for damn sure.
Remember when Watch This was going crazy at the beginning of the year,
bro? This is another song that might be in my actually no, it won't be in my top 5 or top 10, but I've been junking this song more than any other song off of the Pink Tape, and it's funny just because Uzi wasn't really the master behind it. There was the producer Arizona Tears that made the Plug and B remix, put it out on SoundCloud, ended up blowing up, and then it got released on streaming. But crazy how it would have been the biggest song off of Pink Tape, excluding Just Wanna Rock.
Would it have actually been statistically?
Excluding Just Wanna Rock, it would have been.
That's interesting because I know a lot of people use it for their compilations on TikTok and went crazy on short form content, but it's the classic like spacey Uzi that you love and that you just feel absolutely drawn into when it comes to even like the flows and the way that he's absolutely attacking the track. And like you said, the production by Arizona T is incredible. It's really a well put together song.
But does 2C stand a chance here?
No way. Even if it's one of the biggest songs of the year, like I'm still gonna give it to this. Even when let's say it was mixed into content and compilations, when I'm scrolling through my timeline, I always stopped for a piece of content whenever this song was being used, and I always enjoyed it. So Watch This is going to be going through?
Yeah, I like what 2C did. It was a sentimental love song. I think it's just a bit too one-dimensional. So I think Watch This is definitely something worth listening to a little bit more. So let's keep on going.
All right.
Round 2. This is where it gets interesting. Meltdown by Travis versus The Hillbillies by Kendrick and Baby Keem.
This is where I say we get rid of The Hillbillies.
I think The Hillbillies has no other room in this bracket. Fucking Drake, bro. He did it on Meltdown. That whispering cadence, the viciousness, just his performance alone is better than Keem and Kendrick's.
Absolutely.
For me. But all right, Meltdown will move on to the third round. Next battle is between Fuck You Mean by Gunna, going head to head with Players by Coi Leray.
Is this an easier one for you too?
Is this an easier one?
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Is it an easy one? Because I know how you feel about Fuck You Mean and Players, but listen, as much as I champion Players, it's not that great of a song either.
It's a really good song.
Yeah, but when I look at Gunna's rapping performance and Coi Leray's rapping performance, I want to give it to Gunna. I do feel like Gunna did have a better rapping performance than Coi Leray. The production, though, the whole ski thing, I am going to give it to Players. I think this one's going to come down to just what you prefer for your rotation and when we went through
I think production's better on Players, and I like it because it's an outlier for Coi Leray. Like, she's not using auto-tune. It's this smooth, relaxed flow. And she sounds amazing over it. Sheesh, that's tough.
If you want to go players,
no,
we'll go players.
If you're feeling fuck you mean, we'll go fuck you mean. But
I'm just saying, I do feel like Gunna has a much better performance on Fuck You Mean.
His rapping is better overall.
I can't just knock out Fuck You Mean because of the ski thing. Not the ski.
Not
sorry,
the
thing. Excuse me. It was the year of that type of notion, for people to get hooked on it. It was the year. It was the year for that,
Yeah, 100%.
So listen, let's go on to Fuck You Mean. I think that's what we're gonna have going through.
That's fair.
That's a fair one.
All right, now we have a matchup. We have "Say My Grace" by Offset and Travis Scott versus 500 Pounds by Lil Tecca. I think "Say My Grace" not only was it this thunderous, monstrous, horn-heavy, triumphant trap banger, but you also got Offset rapping really deeply. Like, that was the cherry on the cake, is that he's rapping about, losing his brother. He's rapping about losing his grandmother, and he's able to fit it in and make it sound natural within this trap banger, which is so unheard of. In comparison to 500 Pounds, I think it packs more of a punch. I would go "Say My Grace." What about you?
I would go "Say My Grace" as well. I think the production by OZ is much better than the production on 500. Not OZ, excuse me.
My vinyls, yeah,
exactly. Than 500 Pounds. I also do think that I prefer the Offset verse over Lil Tecca, and then the Travis come through on the second verse was well done as well. So I think "Say My Grace" is going to be going through.
Also, I want to see if OZ also produced "Say My Grace." I know they work together from time to time. Let's see.
Is OZ on there?
No, I don't see OZ. I see Vinyls, F&Z, and Manish.
Okay.
Awesome.
There we go. All right, let's get going.
Let's keep on going
with this. What do we have next?
Next
so the next one,
another
Doomsday.
easy one.
Yeah, Doomsday versus K-pop. There's not much
Get
to say about
K-pop
that.
out of there, bro.
I think this is the time
Get it
K-pop's
out.
going to have to go through. So this is going to go through. Hold on, let me just put this in the doc. There we go. All right, that's an interesting semifinal right there. No, not semifinal, quarterfinal.
Yes, upcoming quarterfinal. But next up, "I Don't Give a Fuck" by Drake going up against "I Know" by Travis Scott. I mean, you could argue production-wise, maybe "I Don't Give a Fuck" is a bit more like fast-paced, entrances you into the song a bit more. But as a track itself, I think "I Know" is better, bro. Like, even in terms of the writing, the whole idea of like Travis being altered because he's under the influence and him forgetting if his girl is his ex or his current girl, like, it's a mind fuck of a song, and it was communicated so well.
I'm not really drawn to the writing of "I Know", if I'm going to be honest. It's not necessarily the
it's a
the
cool.
driving.
I'm just saying it is.
I guess.
If there's cool writing within a melodic song,
if you want to
that's
give it
awesome.
Points for it, yeah, okay.
I'll give it points.
We'll give it points there. But "I Don't Give a Fuck" has a lot more of a punch when it comes to, like, let's say just the song itself. I just want to maybe to play a bit of devil's advocate. I'm ultimately going to go "I Know", but I understand why maybe people would want to see "I Don't Give a Fuck" going through a bit further.
Interesting.
It does
really. I can't see it. I think it's a far better song.
Let's say I would say maybe at a rave, let's say, or let's say Rolling Loud. If "I Don't Give a Fuck" comes on, bro, people are going absolutely nuts. People are going crazy.
This isn't the rave bracket.
No, I'm just saying is that it does pack a high energy.
It does.
Like, that is something I'm gonna,
does.
just like you said for the lyrics, not the craziest lyrics, but
I know.
it is kind of like a bonus point.
Fair, fair enough. Okay, so "I Know" advances. Next up, first-person shooter, Drake and J. Cole going up against "They Don't Love It" by Jack Harlow. Here we go.
It's time to get it out.
Jack Harlow can't get any love? The Chipmunk Soul? No?
I fuck with it, but I mean, listen, it's
No, I know.
it's not even
I know.
comparing. There's no way.
I really do appreciate what Jack did on that song, and I think he deserves his flowers for "They Don't Love It."
"I Know" versus first-person shooter. That's a tough one.
Ooh, that's going to be good.
That's a tough one.
That's going to be good.
All right, next one we have Dogtooth versus Red Ruby, the Sleaze. This one's a tough one.
It is a tough one. Ultimately, I think I want to side with Tyler, the Creator.
But
as
the
an
thing
overall
is,
track.
like you were saying, like, Nicki has a vicious verse.
She
on
does.
It. It's a really serious verse. Actually, a really good record. It
It
just
is.
depends. Like, what are you looking at here? Weigh out the pros and cons at this one. I think this is a bit tougher of a decision than the other matchups that we've just had to go through. You know,
It is tougher. I feel like Tyler is maybe giving you more of a story. You know, he's rapping about just like what he values in his life, how he wants to take care of his woman, how he wants to be tight with his close.
Yeah, but you're also getting Nicki in a very vicious and braggadocious and dominant bag, and that's my favorite type of lyricism from Nicki. And when I do get it, I really do.
You're right.
enjoy it.
It is a tougher matchup. I was too quick to give it to Dogtooth. Sheesh, bro.
Listen, if I'm going to be honest with myself, I think I'm going to go Dogtooth.
Yeah.
I think ultimately I'm going to go Dogtooth, but I will say this. If it wasn't for Dogtooth, Red Ruby the Sleeve would be going crazy. I
could have
said
made
Red
a
Ruby the
push.
Sleeve, excuse me. Red Ruby the Sleeves.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a tongue twister there. But yeah, I think Dogtooth is going to
Dogtooth is going to
make it.
advance. Okay. Next matchup, let's take it to Telekinesis up against Watch This. I mean, listen, watch this. It's fun. The kids love it. I get it, but it's not holding a candle to Telekinesis. Do we even have to say anything else?
Do we have to say anything else? Do we?
Do you?
No.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to say about this.
Definitely
one.
not.
But listen, Watch This was a moment, man. Shout out to Watch This. When I think about 2023, I'm gonna think about Watch This.
For sure.
I will say that. Bye, Watch This.
All right. Meltdown versus Fukumean. I got to give Gunna credit. Like, he slid on that song. He found a solid pocket. The flow switches worked.
The whole but it's the
I know.
Now it's time to stick it. Now it's time to say, hey, listen, this is not a great song. The whole like it's just it's too much. It's too much. It's way too much.
You were so into that one. Awesome.
It's too much.
Yeah, Meltdown
is just absolutely ripping through this one. No way.
Meltdown
Jose.
all the way. Is it going to be the winner today?
No way. It's going all the way through. All right, let's see what we have next. Next matchup is going to be Say My Grace versus Doomsday. Shit.
Wow. Two very fucking different songs.
So different when you actually have to think about it. This was the year of Travis Scott. Looking at this bracket, it was such an easy year for me.
It was, bro.
Just looking at the bracket as a whole, like it's just dominated by Travis.
If he had a feature on Fat D, I'm sure that would have somehow made
absolutely
its turn on this bracket as well. But yeah, when it comes to this matchup, shit, bro. I don't know. I mean, Say My Grace goes hard, but Doomsday, I just feel like it's gonna be treasured by the hip hop community maybe a bit more. It was a harder feat to accomplish as well.
But I think that like when you have to look at the community and what everyone was, it's
know.
one of the most anticipated songs of the year. Say My Grace, really, everyone was waiting on the song.
I don't care about that.
But
though.
that's the thing. I guess you could put that in there.
I'm on
Okay.
Doomsday.
Yeah, you're gonna go Doomsday.
What about you?
I'm okay with Doomsday. You know how I feel about Say My Grace. I think it's just a tad overrated, so we'll go with that one. But
All right.
okay, Doomsday's going to be making a push over here. This is quite interesting, all right? But let's keep going on with this. Let's go on to the next matchup. We have I Know versus First Person Shooter. Man.
Wow.
Shout out to our brother Coleman, bro.
Absolutely. I mean, he absolutely went crazy on that beat. But listen.
Actually, 3 Coleman productions in this in the semifinal, eh? I guess
Coleman is
either way,
making those slappers, bro.
Coleman is making
He's
these
cooking it
slappers.
up.
This was a great year for Coleman as well.
First person shooter versus I Know. Wow. Listen, they're very hard to compare. You know, you're getting braggadocious, coming for your ops type of track, with first person shooter. J. Cole coming in with like motion picture, like that whole rhyme scheme.
Once he hits
was
the motion picture,
impeccable.
once you start to get that flow switch,
He
like
leaves
midway
Earth.
through. Yeah, it's over. I was having this conversation. I believe it was with Coleman. I'm like, listen, man, like that J. Cole verse is one of the best that I have heard all year, bro. It is really one of the best verses all year, in my opinion.
Does Drake weigh the song down at all for you? To a point where it's like Travis, he nails all of I Know from start to finish. Even the second verse with like, I know, mommy, I know. When he switches up the cadence, like everything about it is smooth.
No,
With
I'm gonna go
first-person
first person shooter.
I do feel like
I'm gonna go
I
first-person
feel like
shooter.
Drake could have came in a bit harder, I'll be honest, to match J. Cole.
He still did his
But
thing.
he still
though.
did his thing.
He still did his thing though. He still got it done.
He knew after J. Cole finished his verse, he's like, I can't top that. I need a beat switch right now. I got to switch things up and do my own meltdown type of flow. And it worked.
It worked.
Nadine, Claudine, I'm here for it.
Sardine, I don't care.
I'm here for it.
It's going through.
It's going through first-person shooter, even though for my rotation, I prefer I Know. I think if I have to really pinpoint it, yes, first-person shooter is probably the better song.
Next up, okay, this is going to be the last round for the quarterfinals. It's going to be Dogtooth versus Telekinesis. I think this is when the Utopia round's going to have to slide through. Telekinesis
Utopia is
going
going to have to continue to
Yeah.
dominate.
There we go. So we have 2 Utopia songs in this next round. Let's see what happens for the final. This is going to be very interesting,
Shit.
all right? So, by the way, just so you agree, Telekinesis is going through.
Oh,
You tell me yes or no.
absolutely. You don't have to ask
I
me.
don't have to ask you. All right, next one. This is going to be the semifinals, ladies and gentlemen. First matchup of this round is going to be Meltdown versus Doomsday. Ultimately, I'm still gonna go Meltdown though. Yeah, I don't even think this is a competition. Listen, I love what Juice WRLD and Cordae did on this. Shout out to everyone that was a part of this record. I'm glad it made a far run into this bracket, but I think it's time I tip my hat and I say a farewell to Doomsday. Because Meltdown's going through for me.
I think
Meltdown is going through.
I think Meltdown just offers more. The 3 beat switches, Drake and Travis into that dark mode is just special, bro.
Right next to
It's
8 a.m.
special.
Right next to 8 a.m. I do think that this is one of Drake's best verses of the year.
It is.
It really is. It's up there for me.
He's even throwing you double entendres. He didn't have to for a song like that, but he's giving it to you anyways.
He did. He wanted to do it anyway.
Meltdown, I think it's superior to Doomsday. So Doomsday made a nice push though.
Absolutely.
Fourth
Doomsday,
place.
I think that was the sleeper of today's bracket. All right, let's go on to the last matchup for the semifinals. This is going to be first-person shooter versus telekinesis for all the dogs versus Utopia. And listen, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm going to go first-person shooter once again.
They're such different songs, though. Like, what do you
Yeah.
think gives it the edge?
The rapping performances are much better than Drake and J. Cole
but the
on
thing
it.
is,
The
with
production,
telekinesis, you're not going in for amazing rapping performances. You're going in for the vibe, the aesthetic. SZA is not even rapping.
okay, so
she's
even if I want to
singing.
go on the vibe and the okay, so which song has better productions, telekinesis or first-person shooter?
First-person
going
shooter's
first-person shooter.
first beat. The second beat, I feel like telekinesis has a better production overall.
Ultimately, though, I'm still going FPS as a better production. It's a lot more dynamic. It's incredible. Like even that sample in the background is it's so fucking sick.
I think what
the
it is-
drums are nuts as well. The goated J. Cole verse, stop this.
I think what it is too
Stop
is
this,
that
Lou.
it's also it's much easier on paper for like a Travis, Future, and SZA song to become a hit, but for J. Cole and Drake to be rapping their asses off and for it to go #1, that's a celebration for us hip hop heads, and we fucking love it. So it's got to go through to the finals.
Absolutely.
Finals. Here it is. I'm surprised that we've been seeing eye to eye for a lot of these, but it's going to be Meltdown by
Actually,
Travis.
Nick, confirm this with me. I don't think you needed to come in.
I
at
didn't
any
come in
point.
once, and don't bring me in for the final. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't
So we
bring
have
me in here.
Let's do it.
Meltdown from Utopia up against first-person shooter Drake is dominating the hits as per usual.
It was a big year for Drake, Travis, and Cole. I think that they're really at the top of their game when it comes to just keeping the sport alive of hip hop and being able to make this conversation fun. So if somehow they're watching this, I just want to say thank you guys. You guys are really doing a lot for the community. And these 2 songs were anthems this year. It was incredible. And just to be able to see what you guys were doing on this level, I mean, fuck, I don't even know where to go with this one. It's such a split for me. It really is.
You
I
know
don't even
what?
know where to go with it.
I'll say this. I think production-wise, I think I do prefer Meltdown just because the tension just keeps rising. The tempo of the song goes faster and faster for that first beat to a point where it climaxes. Performance-wise, I think you're getting the best Drake verse on Meltdown. But
Does J. Cole trump it all?
who's the one that they call when their shit's not connecting like he works in IT, bro? Who is it?
The crop duster.
Yes,
It's
it
the crop.
is.
It's the crop duster.
The crop duster, I think, is gonna dust everybody else out of here, bro.
Absolutely. That crop duster line is so fucking sick. Well, I'm telling you, when I heard that flow on that portion of the song, I was absolutely locked.
You're
in.
stunned.
No, it was
Stunned.
really, it was a top tier performance of the year. I think first person shooter's gonna have to win this bracket.
does.
First person shooter, ladies and gentlemen, is our winner for this 2023 bracket. Lou, it was a pleasure doing this with you guys. And just doing this for you guys. It was incredible to be able to go through all of 2023. You guys helping us out with the brand and you guys coming in every single video. So much love to everyone that supports us. Much love to everyone that's a part of the community. And if you guys want to see more videos just like this, smash the subscribe button. Like this video if you liked our choices. And as usual, guys, stick it to Lou and I. Where do we get it right? Where do we get it wrong? And what would you change in our next bracket? Much love to everyone. Thank you so much for watching this, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.